Welcome to the 3 Steps to Document Automation. I'm Kim Mayberry and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Real Automation Solutions. So a little bit about Real Automation Solutions. We were started in 1998. We've automated well over 2,000 different documents and worked with hundreds of clients. And we created the first on-demand training course for HotDocs. Our mission here is to provide world-class training for people to not only just learn how to program and use HotDocs, but to become experts in how to become more efficient in their practices. So today we're going to talk a little bit about getting ready to automate your documents. So this is a stumbling block that we've seen, and we felt like a video would be helpful to kind of walk you through the process, because we know the power of what HotDocs can do in your office, the efficiency that you gain. We've seen efficiency gains of over 50%, so it takes you half or less the amount of time to go through and create your documents for your clients after automating. And so we don't want the beginning steps of getting your documents ready to be a stumbling block. So how do you do this? So the first thing is to determine which documents you're going to program. The second is to mark up your documents and get them in template form. And the third is to start programming your documents. So let's just jump in and go ahead and talk through, determine which documents to program. So not all documents are created equally. There are some documents that you're using every day, every week, and some that you're using once a year. And so we actually use what we recommend is an ABCD scale that goes through and helps you evaluate which documents you're using. So as a rule of thumb, A documents are those that you're using every day or weekly. B are you're using them a few times a month. C, you're using them quarterly. And D, you're using them maybe once a year or not even that. So that this helps you go through and rate your document so you know where to start. And so number 3 here is we recommend starting with the easiest documents first when you're getting prepared for them, especially if you're going to be doing your own document automation and going through our HotDocs bootcamp. If you're having us actually go through and do the documents for you and automate them for you, we actually will start with the harder ones first because we've been doing this long enough. So, but for those, just a little tip for those that are just starting out, we do recommend starting with the easiest ones first so you can get some good foundation in place before you move on to the more complex ones. So the next piece is to get your documents into template form. So this is really important because what we've seen is people will say, oh, I've got this document's ready for programming, and then when they get in and start programming, they think, oh, I've missed some things. And so it really helps to go through and follow these steps. So make sure that your documents look the way you want them to. And what this means is that you've got the language in there that you want, things flow the way you want them to flow, that they're really all ready to go, so that if you were to hand them to a client that day, that they're ready. And the second step is to make sure you get all of your options in there in the document. So for example, if you're doing a will, you've got your beneficiary section and your residuary section. Those have different options that are available to you. So make sure that you list out the options, and I'm going to show you here in a minute when you get to marking up your documents how to do that. And the third is combine your similar documents. So with automation, you no longer have to have a document like, for example, a will for a single person and a will for a married couple. You can actually combine them into one document. And with automation, you can go through and say when you're going to do each piece. And during your marking on this next slide, I'll kind of walk you through how to do that. So those are the things that are going to help you save you time. And putting a little bit of extra energy into this is going to pay big dividends with the final product that you get, and also with getting it ready for when you're actually automating it. So let's go to the third step. marking up your documents. You'll see up top I have before marking up your documents, and below I have after marking up your documents. So what we're going to do is the first step, we're going to go through and figure out which names, or basically what in HotDocs terms, which items need to become variables. And so like Clark client, the address, when we get to the spouse's name, and children, those are all going to be variables in HotDocs. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mark them up and say name of client, and within brackets, address in brackets, and spouse in brackets, and children. And so we have child 1, child 2. You also need to see if we have more than one child, we're going to want to add the ERN on the back of it. And so these are the types of things that you need to go through and mark up, basically by putting in brackets what it is that needs to change with programming. That's the best way to go about it. So now you're asking, I'm guessing, is what about optional paragraphs? So let's move to the next page here. So when we get to optional paragraphs, all you've got to do is just mark before a paragraph that this is option and kind of when the option is needed. So in this case, we're going to say spouse is a partner. And so we're going to go through and do it that way. We know that we are only going to put this in if they are married or if they had a partner. Same with children. If they don't have any children, then we're not going to put any of this paragraph in. And the thing that we teach you during the boot camp is how to do these. They're called if statements, and how to put the REN on and the child in and the child to in. And so these are things that we're going to teach you during the boot camp, our HotDocs boot camp, if that's what you're preparing for, or if we're going through and doing these documents for you, we're going to be able to help you get through this and get things marked up, because we've done, like we said, well over 2,000 documents. We know what we're looking for when it comes time for that. I'd like to thank you for joining us today and going through and getting ready to get your documents programmed.